It doesn't require a complete college or university class on geography to understand some basics about landscape geography of the United States. Google Maps gives you plenty of information on mountains and rivers. But if you want to guess locations in the USA more precisely, it helps to learn a few things about American landscapes. Join me as we look at the basics of US landscapes so you can do better in your Geoguessr games. The United States has two major mountain chains in the continental part of the country, the lower 48 states. We have the Appalachians along the east coast, stretching from Maine to Georgia, and the Rockies, Sierra Nevada in the western part of the United States. The Appalachians are older, smoother, and smaller mountains. The Rockies look more like the Alps or the mountains in Norway. But be careful, just because there are rocky mountains in the western United States doesn't mean that everything, all the terrain in the western US is mountains. There are lots of valleys and deserts and mesas and plateaus, but in generally you'll see those type of mountains in the western 1/3 of the continental United States. The continental United States has 3 or 4 major coastlines. If you get a lake plonk, that could even be considered another set of coastlines. The major coastlines are the East Coast with the Atlantic Ocean, the West Coast with the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf Coast, and the Great Lakes. The two major coasts are generally very different than each other. The West Coast is generally very rocky and has mountains close to the beaches and shorelines. The East Coast is generally mountain-free next to the beaches and shorelines and has forests and buildings right up to the beach. Exceptions to this general description are the rocky coasts of Maine on the East Coast and the wide beaches of Southern California on the West Coast. The Great Lakes have a coastline that looks like the Atlantic coast, but the surf is generally not as pronounced. You'll see Geoguessr plonks with like maybe some rainy, wavy waves in the Great Lakes, but you won't see like surf like you would of an ocean beach. You may also see lighthouses around the Great Lakes that look like they belong on the East Coast. You will often see fall foliage in Geoguessr rounds, while the colorful autumn foliage won't help you pinpoint an exact city or state. If you know where the foliage is present or not present in Google Street View, you can use other clues to narrow down your location. Fall colors are part of the life cycle of deciduous trees. You'll often see United States Geoguessr rounds where the leaves on the trees are yellow, orange, or bright red. Fall foliage can be found mostly in the northern 2/3 of the United States. You aren't going to see fall colors in most of Florida and pretty much along the southern part of the United States, continental United States. While fall foliage is present in the southeastern United States, you rarely see fall colors in Geoguessr rounds. It's helpful to learn the major rivers of the United States: the Mississippi, Missouri, Ohio, Arkansas, and Hudson. If your plonk is on a large bridge over a river, and the other clues indicate that you're in the United States, your plonk is probably over one of these major rivers. Your typical Geoguessr plonk in the United States will probably have vegetation that won't be useful in narrowing down where you are. But palm trees are easy to recognize and spot in pictures. If you spot one or many, that tells you that you're in the southern United States. Palm trees just can't survive outside in the northern 2/3 of the United States. Palm trees indicate that you are often in Florida. Tall palm trees, empire palms, are more common in California. From all the playing of Geoguessr I've done over the years, if I see really tall palm trees, I usually suspect California. Florida has really tall palm trees, but they're not very, you don't see them as much. There are some tricky locations with palm trees, such as southern Texas, Arizona, Hawaii, and southern Nevada. Okay, so speaking of palm trees, you see the palm trees? If you know the different varieties, you see the real tall ones in California, although this is a really different variety with this very spiky. That's not a common variety I've seen. This could be Florida. Next thing to do here is look for mountains or look at the power poles, although we're in a nice suburbs here. Bentley Oaks. There's the mountains, so we are probably in California. We have to rule out Arizona now. Next thing is ruling out Arizona. So it's not Florida. there's always Nevada. There's always Nevada. Vegas. Oh yeah, I forgot about Vegas. Ah, the west side of Vegas. That does make sense. Redwoods are one of the tallest tree species and can be found along the coast of Northern California and Oregon. A Geoguessr plot with these trees in the picture may be rare, but knowing the range of these trees can give you a fun advantage. So your map location is out in a rural location. It's probably in the United States. Everything points to the United States, but you're in the middle of some rural area. What landscape clues help narrow down guessing locations? What if you see a flat agricultural landscape with crops and farms, buildings, and equipment? Do you see any trees? If not, the location might be North Dakota or western Kansas. Does the landscape look like you can see for miles and miles, but with trees? Might be Nebraska, South Dakota, Illinois, western and southern Minnesota, or Oklahoma. Are there trees close to the road and the road is slightly rolling? Might be Iowa, Missouri, Kentucky. Now, there are lots of interesting landscapes in the western United States beyond mountains. Let's take a look at some of these examples. Joshua Tree National Park is an American national park in southeastern California, east of San Bernardino in Los Angeles and north of Palm Springs. Very interesting vegetation. Mojave National Preserve is located in the Mojave Desert of San Bernardino County, California, U.S., between Interstate 15 and Interstate 40. One of my favorite drives of all time was driving across the Mojave Desert at night. Canyonlands National Park is an American national park located in the southeastern Utah near the town of Moab. Is it pronounced Moab or Moab? I can never figure that one out. But it's very colorful, very bright colors. It's a good fun one to remember. The Bonneville Salt Flats are a densely packed salt pan in Tooele County in northwestern Utah, United States, close to Salt Lake City, just west of Salt Lake City. It's a remnant of the Pleistocene Lake Bonneville. It is the largest of many salt flats west of the Great Salt Lake. The Pleistocene being, well, a long time ago, a very large, huge lake was in that area. It's very flat. That's where they set land speed records with cars. Buckaroo Banzai, the science fiction film there. I hope you've enjoyed this look at U.S. landscapes. Future installments of this series will help you plunk better across the United States. Look for videos on license plates, architecture, road meta, commercial buildings, and quirky clues. I stream Geoguessr with chat on Twitch on Monday and Friday afternoons and sometimes on other days. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Prairie Pirate Yo. More information on my gaming and community can be found on my website, utopiacraft.io. Happy plonking!